get over to Facebook and have some people tell us where we're going. Let's do a share. Oh, I can't do a share on that. Let's do a refresh. Hasn't showed up yet. Now it does. Now we can do a share. Share the thing. Here we go around the mulberry bush.
I'm still not seeing it. So, what's the weather like there?
Nice.
Is it
Yes.
finally stopped being hot?
No, that's what nice is.
Oh, I think it's
Oh, what did we have for a high today? Let's find out. This is the pre-show banter anyway, people. It is currently it's currently 108.
108?
Uh-huh.
It's like 71 here.
When I wake up and go on tomorrow's walk, it will be about 88.
Well, this will be interesting. Rain starts
rain
in
last night
42
too,
minutes.
so it's really kind of humid. It's a little bit muggy for 108.
It says rain starts here in 42 minutes.
Uh-oh, we better get the show done. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
you're under a roof. Unless it's
I'm under a
windy,
roof.
then it'll blow on you.
We'll see.
Okay.
I may end the show early if it happens. I have to get out.
I'm running inside now.
I got nowhere to run, really.
Okay, then let's begin our show, shall we?
Let's do.
I'm just going to boost that up just a little bit more on my end. My mic is a little bit low. I was recording my dog days and went, why is this so low?
Yeah.
Thank goodness for Levelator. Okay, here we go. Get up the two recording apps. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Technorama episode 751, the periodic table of elements of humor. Hello and welcome to Technorama, the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. If this is the first time joining us, welcome to the show. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, it's 751 episodes later, but you finally made it. That's okay. Sure, there's still parking in the parking lot for you.
Oh, achievement unlocked.
If you're returning guest, your spot is saved for you. How's that? You don't have to park in the visitor spot.
Yeah. Yeah, all the parking spots are numbered, so by the time what year you listened,
the patrons have their names painted on the curb. We got this. We got this. We've finally figured it out. My name is Chuck Tomasi from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, and right over there is Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing good. Weather is really beautiful tonight in my office.
We are now officially in the second half of August. Isn't this crazy?
I know. But what is it, like 10 days or so till DragonCon?
Yes. Let me see. My counter on my phone will tell me specifically 9 days, 23 hours, 26 minutes.
Yeah, so almost 10 days.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I've got 18 days to retirement, of which about 10 of those are work days. This is my last full week of work coming up.
Wow, how do you feel?
It's starting to hit home. If it doesn't get done after Friday, it's probably not getting done.
Yeah.
I do have 2 more trips. One is a trip to the mothership on the 27th. There is a segment of marketing that we're in called Product Solutions Marketing.
Right.
And we are having an all hands, and they said, could you come out to Santa Clara for our all hands meeting on the 27th? So I'll be making a day trip out there. And then I've got one more where we're driving out to San Diego on my very last day so I can turn in the laptop, and then Donna and I are going to make a mini vacation out of it and maybe do some Disney because it's only an hour and a half drive to Anaheim.
If anybody asks you, what are you going to do when you retire? I'm going to Disneyland.
That's exactly it. You got it. Which is better than what I did when I was between jobs at Plexus and ServiceNow. You remember that story, right?
Yeah.
You gathered up all the old
your beard got long and you were
no
drinking a lot. It was like, it's terrible.
Well, I had a whole bunch of stuff in the basement, old computers, VT220s and SGI Indigos, just there was a lot of electronic stuff that I just wasn't using anymore. And I
Yeah,
used those few weeks between jobs to do some house cleaning. So I loaded it all up in the minivan,
that's
floor
right.
to ceiling, door to door, drove it to the recycle center in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, about an hour west of Appleton. And they gave me some money back for certain elements like power cords. I got lots of power cords.
Oh,
And
they gave you money for power cords?
I made like 12 or 15 bucks. So then I noticed right across the street was the
Mhm.
Point Brewing Company, which is a kind of moderate microbrew place,
Okay.
famous in the region. And I got back and Craig says, "Wait a minute, let me get this straight. You gathered up some recyclables to get cash for beer."
Yeah, that's right. I do remember that. That's right. Yep.
He took all my hard work and noble efforts to clean my basement and do e-cycling and treat myself and brought it down to this is
Yeah.
what an unemployed guy
Leave it to me to bring in the reductive comment. That's right.
does. Well, we'll see what happens for retirement, but I'm not sharing any stories with you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I was just when you were talking about that, I was just thinking about whenever I've recycled a piece of hardware or something
Yeah,
like that. Something like the power cord is always the thing I keep, so I got a bucket full.
they multiply on their own.
They kind of do. And no matter how well you tie them so they don't knot up, they knot up. They do that while you're not looking, I think. It's
It's
like
like
Toy
Christmas
Story.
lights.
It's like Toy Story. They start, yeah.
Right. I've got my power cords under control. I remember when I worked at my last job, somebody was gathering up all these extra power cords because they multiply. It's somehow
Mhm.
you install a computer with one for the monitor and one for the CPU. You come back and they move offices and now there's four. Like, what? How? What? They
Yeah,
had babies? I didn't know this. How does
right,
this happen? Someone explain it to me. So
right.
we gathered them up and we put them in a banker's box and he labeled it power cords, but he spelled it CHORDS. So we're
Chords.
I wanted to draw a picture of an electric guitar so bad.
Yeah,
It's
that's right. That's right.
the
So,
power chords.
so just to let everybody know, if you don't already know, Chuck and I will be in Atlanta for Dragon Con coming up in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. So about 10 days, 9 days now. Probably about 7 by the time you hear this. We'll be at Dragon Con with our buddy Clinton. We got a live show going on that weekend. I remember.
Two.
Yeah, I meant for Technorama. Well, yeah, for Technorama and the Comedy Forecast. That's with Clinton, and then we have our topic is Trek. Oh,
Yep.
there he is. He's chiming in now. The topic is Trek one, and I'm trying to remember the dates. I don't have them on my calendar yet.
I do.
Okay.
There are 5 things I need to remember. Thursday, 10 p.m., Hilton Galleria 7, karaoke, digital media style.
Yes.
I'll be KJing that. Saturday morning, 10 a.m., Dragon Con Parade. Right down Peachtree Street. Park yourself outside the Hyatt or somewhere along that route. You'll get the idea.
Yep.
Sunday, 4 p.m., Galleria 2-3, I believe it is, where the Star Trek panel is. This is in the Hilton, downstairs. You get there, and we will be doing our topic is Trek live. And there is audience participation, so show up. It's going to be
That's
fun.
right. Yep.
Then at 7 p.m. in Hilton Galleria 7, which is right around the corner. If you're going to Trader Vic's, stop in and say hello.
Yeah. Yeah. It's literally across the hallway. Really.
And that's where we're doing Comedy Forecast, Technorama, and Friends for at least the 10th year. This might be our 11th doing that combined show. So it's going
Um,
to be a lot of fun
how long have we been going to Dragon Con now?
since 2009. So I
9.
believe this is
Yeah.
our 15th.
Yeah. 15th year. Jeez.
Didn't that go by fast?
I know. Wow.
It's like we were in our mid 40s or you were in your early 40s going, this is, ah,
Yeah.
Michael Butler just celebrated 20 years of podcasting.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm coming up on that in December too. I
Yeah.
started podcasting in my 30s. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, I
And
didn't
I'm
have
going
my
to my 60s.
Yeah, I didn't have my own show, but I kind of started at the same time. I was helping out other podcasters and like Kevin Devin and stuff like that
Yep.
with the in the trenches, which is it didn't last too long. He didn't keep it around too long. About 5
few
years.
Yeah, a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
His
I think
role
he's
changed, so he didn't have, the subject matter expertise and the stories to tell.
yeah.
So,
It just disappeared when he changed roles.
I mean, if you don't have any source material, it kinda makes it
Yeah,
tough to make your podcast.
that's true. Yeah.
All right.
I remember doing the April Fool's show for him. You remember what I did?
I remember sometimes we would switch shows, like put our
Well,
show in his feed or something.
that April, 2005, I guess, he I came on there and made the announcement that I bought the domain and everything from him, and I was turning it into a board game podcast.
Board game.
In the trenches with board games.
Welcome to Board Games.
He wouldn't let me do the whole show. He was like, "No, I want to stop it," and he was scared he was going to run everybody off.
Oh, yeah.
I
I can understand that.
was like, "Okay, fine." I was going to do the whole show.
Okay, enough of the pre-show banter. Should we get into the feedback?
Yes, let's do
Let's
it.
do that.
Letters, oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Ding.
Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy!
Mailman, mail today.
Right.
All right, our question of the week this time. Why is the left channel not linked to the right channel? That's
Uh
weird.
oh. Are they sliding or something?
I was able to pull down the left and the right didn't. Now they are.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
All right. So before we start, I want to ask you. All right. So the question of the week was, what fictional universe would you feel at home in? So what would
At
be
home.
yours?
This is like a comfort thing, not just
Yeah.
which one do you want to live in.
Sure. Yeah.
Which would you
Yeah.
feel
If you
at
existed in
home?
in a fictional universe, which one would you be comfortable in?
I don't know, because I would want to go to the Star Trek universe because, beaming technology, transporter, that's,
Yeah. Replicators.
yeah, and save a lot of time traveling.
Hey, synthahol. You just,
Earl Grey, hot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
But that would be where I want to go, where I'd feel most comfortable, where I feel at home. That I don't have any shows that jump out at me like I would feel at home there. What are your thoughts?
I mentioned it last time. The Flintstones. I want to go live in the fictional universe. Although you would kind of have some dinosaurs around that may want to eat you, but
Have fun stopping the car. The brakes are murder.
well, I've been told I look like Barney. But before. That's right.
Hey.
I don't know. I thought it'd be fun to be in the Flintstones.
Okay, let's see what our listeners say. Kyle says,
All right.
for me, I'd say the Noobtown universe would be fun for me. Think of a D&D basic map, but the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote physics engine governs. Mark says, I think Middle Earth might be nice for a while, but Star Trek is amazing so long as you aren't there during the wars or the Borg, or maybe not. Also, toss up between Babylon 5 and Farscape today. And although I've come to really be disappointed in its creator, the wizarding world of Harry Potter sounds pretty cool, so long as I'm a wizard. Stephen Weshy
Right.
says, I'd really like to live in the Trek universe. TNG, DS9, or Disco would likely be ideal time frame.
See, I think that sounds like it'd be fun.
John Kratzer said, Battlestar Galactica 2004 version.
Do you remember that? I mean,
They were refugees and being chased. That was
They were
not
on
a
the-
good time.
they were on the brink of extinction for like a few years during that show. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not cool.
that's not happening for me. Let me do a real quick check and see if anybody got any responses. Oh, I got some responses. Okay. I just posted this a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
My brother Vince says La La Land.
La La Land.
Where
Oh,
would you feel most at home in La La Land?
yeah.
Weber Baker just said, yeah. I think it has
not
an
sure
A
what
with
that
2
is.
dots over. I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
John Clifford says Star Trek could be my choice as well, and Lone Guys Night. Probably Harry Potter, but it'd still be a muggle and completely unaware of their world.
Yeah.
You may already be there.
Yeah. Say too late. You're already there.
That was a good answer. It's kind of like Stephen Wright when he said, I woke up this morning and realized that someone came into my house and stole everything and replaced it with an exact replica.
Oh, oh, Stephen Wright.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got some good ones. Yeah.
That's our question of the week. We're going to play that funky music, white boy.
Another letter from our listener, Dave.
Rolling right into the history. On this day in history for August 21st, 2024, this is the 234th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 132 days remaining in the year. It was on this date in 1770 that James Cook formally claimed Eastern Australia for Great Britain, naming it New South Wales.
Yeah. We're out with the old one. Also on August 21st, 1883, an F5 tornado struck Rochester, Minnesota, leading to the creation of the Mayo Clinic.
I had to read this whole thing because usually I don't do disasters like plane crashes and earthquakes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But since this one led to the creation of the Mayo Clinic, I went, okay, there's a story I want to
Yeah.
learn more
I
about.
want to go back and read about that.
Right. The first successful adding machine in the United States was patented by William Seward Burroughs. On this date, Burroughs, remember the guys who combined to make
Yeah.
UNIVAC? Yeah.
Yeah.
1888 is when he made his first successful adding machine.
Wow. And it was 79 years ago today that physicist Harry Doglin and his fatally
He was fatally
irradiated in a critical accident during an experiment with the Demon Core at Los Alamos National Laboratory.
Yikes.
Hey, if it says Demon Core, I'm staying away from it.
Yeah. Where'd my cursor go? Hey, Harry, could you carry this package over to that other room?
Oh no.
It's safe. Just keep the lid on the box. Don't look. August 21st, 1957, the Soviet Union successfully conducted a long-range test flight of the R-7 Semyorka. Yeah, that's it. Semyorka, the first intercontinental ballistic missile.
You think they give it a better name, but okay.
R-7.
Yeah, R-7. Yeah. That same date in 1959, United States President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed an executive order proclaiming Hawaii as the 50th state in the Union. Hawaii's admission is currently commemorated by Hawaiian Admission Day.
Hey, let's go celebrate with Mad Marv.
Yay!
31 years ago today, NASA lost contact with the Mars Observer spacecraft.
And it was also today in 2017, a solar eclipse traversed the continental United States.
I'm starting to see pictures from 7 years ago on Facebook.
I got some good pictures of people with glasses on that look a little goofy.
The one that came up today is the road sign that says, keep your lights on during eclipse. Like, there's a sign you don't see every day.
That's right.
Happy birthday goes out of the state to French mathematician and engineer Hubert Gautier, born on this date in 1660.
And Giacomo F. Maraldi, the French-Italian astronomer and mathematician, was born 359 years ago today.
Born August 21st, 1754, Scottish engineer and inventor, created the gas lighting. William Murdoch, he was the first person to gaslight someone.
And they never stopped after that. So Augustus Louis Cauchy, whatever, the French mathematician and academic, was born 235 years ago today.
Worst French ever.
Yes.
Nathaniel Everett Green, the English painter and astronomer, was born on that same date in 1823. You're a painter and astronomer. What do you look through your telescope and then paint what you see?
Yeah. All those pictures are about this big. They're round, little tiny.
Here's a dot. There's a dot over there. There's another dot over there.
Yeah. American animator, director, and producer Friz Freleng was born on this date in 1906.
Friz Freleng, yeah.
Yeah.
Many of his works. August 21st, 1909, Russian mathematician and physicist Nikolai Bugolyobov.
And also turning 68 today is English-Canadian actress Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall.
Yay, baby.
American businessman, co-founder of America Online. You've got mail, Steve Case. He was born in the state in 1958. He's got mail from his mother got mail from the stork.
Right. Born August 21st, 1961, American marine biologist, cartoonist, animator, and creator of SpongeBob SquarePants, Steven Hillenburg.
I had no idea he was a marine biologist. No wonder everything is so factually accurate in that cartoon.
He had to one up the painter astronomer.
It's a documentary. I did not realize SpongeBob was a documentary until now.
Hey, Steven was looking through his telescope. Whoa, look at that sponge. I'm going to paint it.
3 weeks later, Russian-American computer scientist and businessman, co-founded Google, Sergey Brin, was born in the state in 1973. He's younger than both of us.
Yes,
and he's a lot richer, too.
Yeah,
Listener birthdays this week go out to Dean Jensen on August 21st. August 22nd has 2 birthdays, Bilbo Baggins and Frodo Baggins.
They put their own entries in, I think.
That's lovely. That's the way it was on this day in history for August 21st, 2024. Hey, if you want to get your birthday in the calendar, Craig's going to put a link on the screen, but I'll tell you what it says for all the people listening at home. You go over to chuckchat.com/birthday, and we will get your name on the birthday calendar when your time of year rolls around. If it's your birthday this week and you're not on the calendar, you're not Frodo, you're not Bilbo.
You don't have a birthday. If it doesn't exist on our calendar.
You don't have a birthday? You don't have to count it. Hey, that's a way to stay young.
Wait a minute. That's also a way. It's an incentive for people not to put their birthdays on there.
Oh, happy birthday to you. We wish you all the best.
Good news, nobodies.
Well, the good news is that these citizen scientists, as they're calling them, spotted an object moving 1 million miles per hour. There's an object that is moving rapidly across the sky, and they just discovered this. I think it was as far back as a couple of years ago, but they just verified and reported it. The fast-moving object they call CWISE, all caps, CWISE, J1249909.08 plus 3621116.0 rolls off the tongue.
When I saw that, it looked like an exponential.
I think it's got something to do with the coordinates, but as it's moving, those won't be the coordinates for long.
Yeah, that's right.
So they spot it, they shorten it up to just CWISE J1249. It's zooming out of the Milky Way at about 1 million miles per hour. It's apparently a low mass star. And what they think, there's a couple of things that could have happened. One is it was part of a binary star system with a white dwarf. And you know how when white dwarfs kind of suck all the energy out of a star?
Yep.
And then they go kaboom every once in a while. We saw this on Star Trek Next Generation. And they're expecting it to happen any day now in real life.
Really?
Yes.
Any day now.
There's another one about to happen. It happens every 80 years. It goes kaboom, and we shall see it, which would be kind of cool. So anyway, they think that may be one way, is that the dwarf star just sucked off so much energy that it couldn't maintain this binary system. It just kind of went, I'm out of here. Or it somehow got tangled up in a couple of black holes that are orbiting each other, and it got too close to there and got flung out. Because you got to slingshot. It's going way too fast and in the wrong direction. It's going to be flung out of, it doesn't say when it's actually going to be leaving, but space is big and it's zipping across the sky. I think this is kind of cool.
Hey, slingshotting is also something we've seen before. They had a dime for every time.
Yeah, it's how you go back and save the whales.
That's right. Yeah. Actually, when I first saw this title, I said, moving 100 million miles per hour. I went, oh, that's cool, as long as it's not coming at us.
No, just 1 million miles per hour. Much slower.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's not coming at us.
I don't think so. That'd be kind of fun if it did.
Would it?
Sure. Some of our planets would get flung out.
Yeah.
All right. On to the Hacks and Strange Stories. Found some interesting stuff in here. We have a story in episode 751 over at chuckchat.com/technorama for a huge Lego Star Trek Deep Space Nine model that has over 75,000 pieces. This video is from, I believe it's the Chicagoland Lego Build Con or whatever, 5 years ago. So sorry it took us so long to find this story.
Actually,
but there's a video and a
did-
story.
I think I did. I think we did talk about this a while back. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
But the story's at the top it says August 13th. I went, okay, great, and so
2019.
yeah, I know. I don't know why.
Yeah,
the
that's
date-
fine.
Yeah,
It's 8 feet in diameter, or almost 3 meters. It's crazy how big this thing is, and stands what, about 6-7 feet tall, a couple of meters tall from pylon to pylon. It's really big. And I watched the video where they interviewed the guy of how long it took him 2 years to build this. He didn't even fully assemble it until the night before the conference because he doesn't have enough room to assemble it in his house. Says, yeah, the only place I've got is my garage floor, which is uneven, or the middle of the living room, but that would block the TV and the family wouldn't be happy.
well, how do you transport this like to the show that he's at?
He breaks it down. He said the pylons, they kind of flare out at the bottom. He
Yeah.
said those come off so that they're nice and they're uniform thickness the rest of the way. So you can stack them and pack them in a much smaller box. So he's got a way to break this down in sections, and they're all easy to reassemble. The LEDs inside are good old kitchen under counter RGB LEDs from Amazon.
Yeah.
And he's got connectors on each segment of that. So when he plugs in one of the spokes from the bicycle wheel, because there's 3 spokes on there, when he plugs that in, he plugs it in electrically and mechanically, and he's good to go.
Okay.
So very interesting stuff. Spent a lot of time, engineered the heck out of this thing, because he said, that outside, the habitat ring, I guess it is so not heavy, but it flexes too much, and it will actually crush under its own weight. So he's got some steel reinforcements inside that hold it up off of the floor on stands too. So
Yeah.
just incredible amount of time. The interviewer also asked him, he said, did you have any like projects in between this, or did you just go straight on 2 years solid through on this? He goes, no, you get burned out if you work on something this massive for that long.
Oh yeah.
He said he built a Tesla Roadster with the spaceman in it. Well, that was launched into space. And
Right.
what else did he build? He built something else that was along that line, just to kind of break up the monotony and give him something.
you'd have to have you couldn't work on this full time. Yeah, I would imagine you'd have to have a couple of things going. Wait a minute, is he married? Does he have a family?
Yes, he does.
Wha- Well, then
No,
how
it didn't say how many hours. It's not like this was his full-time job 24/7.
yeah, but it looks like it would take a lot. Well, you said
Oh, wait,
it took
I'm
2
sure
years.
it did, because
You
he
said
had
it took 2 years, didn't you?
to CAD this whole thing together, and he said it was based off of a like a, what was it, a 1-foot model he had when he was a kid, and he scaled that up. It's 1/600th scale.
Wow. It's even got the Defiant on it.
Yeah,
That's
So-
pretty cool.
pretty cool stuff. You wouldn't catch me building that.
Hey, well, I was gonna say, now you got a project for your retirement.
Not happening.
You don't like Legos anymore?
I already have project. Call me old fashioned, but when we built things out of Legos, you built them out of the standard bricks. The 1x8s, the 2x.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Sick.
specialized ones now. Yeah.
There are so many specialized ones. You're basically putting a model together.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going to build, a Star Destroyer from Star Wars. It has to go together, and there's not much room for imagination. That's my thing. Lego bricks, in my opinion, were built for imagination. Let the person build what they see in their head. This is pre-canned stuff, and it doesn't feel like, you're really exercising the imagination so much as you're trying to build a model.
Well, I thought you were going to say, call me old fashioned, but I'd rather do this in Lincoln Logs.
I'd rather do this in a 3D printer. Yeah, I'm old fashioned that way.
No, Lincoln Logs, man. Imagine trying to build something like
I
that.
had Lincoln Logs.
Yeah, I did too.
A lot of the yes, flat green ones that were for the roof turned into hockey sticks.
I'm sure Clinton remembers the time when we had rocks and sticks
Hey,
to play with.
hey, he might not even be online anymore. When I was a kid, you just sat in the dirt and played with the dirt.
Yeah, Yeah, so they're making mud pies.
You had water?
Yes, I did.
Oh, we didn't
It
have
was
water.
new.
We had
There you go.
dehydrated mud pies.
Hoop and sticks. Hoop and a stick. Yeah, that's
For a
right.
second, I thought I said poop and stick.
He probably had that too.
Leaving the dirty jokes aside. All right, next article. Next article. I did not realize that Alan Parsons from the Alan Parsons Project was
Right.
the engineer / producer of Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd.
I was unaware of this too. But
Yeah,
it's
this
not,
is a pretty cool
that-
article that you found.
yeah, that was one great aspect. I was like, wow, I had no idea. I knew he did a lot of engineering. Of course, he had his own rotating band, with different people in it, the Alan Parsons Project. But what fascinated me about this was I started seeing they started talking about the sounds in the song "Money." You hear the bag of money fall, paper rip, the crash register, and
But yeah, and even the song "On the Run." If you did this today, it would be a copy paste exercise in a digital audio workstation or a DAW.
yeah,
Not terribly sophisticated, right?
right,
Back then, they said we had to record these sounds and then measure on the tape. What was it, 6 7/8 inches for each sound?
it literally with a tape measure,
Put
yeah,
them in a loop, and then record those to a 4-track recorder that got onto the multi-track recorder that got onto the 24-track master. And like, wow. And they had to do all this because it's very carefully timed. You listen, the meter of that song "Money" or "On the Run," they all have this specific. "Money" is interesting because it eventually fades out as the singing comes in.
yeah, and it fades back in at their
That is a masterstroke to be able to take those sound effects in rhythm to the time of the song that's coming. Just incredible stuff.
They made the loop, and then the band played to the loop, and then they ended up eventually faded out when it starts playing. So when you get to that part, that's not too crazy, but it's how they got there was to know that they had to put use the measuring tape. I was like, I've done some crazy things with cassette tapes. I know it's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of things when I was remixing some music with cassette tapes. But to think sitting there with a tape measure and trying to make sure it's all lines up, that's amazing. And this article just drew me in as I read. I went, oh yeah, I want to know how they did that. And so I started reading it, and it was fascinating. So yeah. Oh, here you go. Clinton says, regarding Legos, Chuck, you need to watch YouTube's "Why Legos Is So Expensive" video by the Business Insider. It addresses a lot of things. Here you go.
Yep.
That's your homework for next week.
I also thought it was interesting. I'm not going to ruin it, but I suggest that our listeners go and read this article. Again, episode 751 over at chuckchat.com/Technorama. And they tell how they did this live. Because remember, they went out on tour and it wasn't just like, okay, Billy, roll the tape and we'll start playing.
Yeah. You get a Foley actor on the side
dropping coins.
Yeah.
No, do it on time. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, clink. 1, 2, 3, clink.
Okay. Yeah, that was. I love this article so much. It was great.
Last article truly belongs in the Hacks and Strange Stories because it combines nuclear fusion experiments with mayonnaise.
As it should.
Fascinating stuff. So they go into a little precursor about what is nuclear fusion and how you can do this. It's what powers the sun when you take lighter elements and fuse them together and get heavier elements like 2 hydrogen atoms make a helium atom and you get a whole bunch of energy. Well, on Earth, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. One is called, where is it? I should have highlighted this stuff. Let's see, nuclear fusion, One way to go is use the torus-shaped device called a tokamak, which is magnetic fields to control an internal plasma and induce fusion reactions. Another way is blast a small pellet of fuel with lasers, causing fusion. The latter method is the way scientists at the Department of Energy's National Ignition Facility generated a record-breaking amount of energy from their reaction in 2022. But that's not to say that tokamaks are a bad way to go. Earlier this year, the Jet tokamak in the United Kingdom produced over 69 megajoules of energy, 20 times more energy than the National Ignition Facility reaction. Okay, so we're making this stuff. It's still not economically feasible, but we are getting a whole lot of energy out of it. So what does mayonnaise have to do with this?
Hey,
Well,
Tina Turner. What's mayo got to do with it? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
anyway, my brain went in 3 more directions off of that, but I'm going to leave them alone. Well, of course, we all know that mayonnaise is an emulsion of egg oil and an acid-like vinegar. And some people don't go for that. But the condiment is also the key to perfect grilled cheese. I like this author.
Where's this article going?
In the fusion research, mayonnaise helped the team probe an instability that occurs between materials of different densities when the gradients of density and pressure are moving oppositely. Easier to say than it is to comprehend.
Oppositely, yeah.
From scientist Banjari, we use mayonnaise because it behaves like a solid when it is subjected, but when it is subjected to a pressure gradient, it starts to flow. So interesting stuff. I also dug down. When we get articles like this, I like to dig down into the comments.
Okay.
First one comes up and says, other labs immediately mustered all their condiment knowledge to catch up with their state of the art.
Oh, gosh.
All in the name of butter science.
Yeah, the next comment, I must admit to relishing in the saucy comment.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
There was another one down here. I have become Kraft, destroyer of eggs.
Yeah.
Those comments, I thought we'd share that with them. But hey, you never know what mundane things are going to help advance science forward. Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? All right, quick shout out to the chat room. We have Clinton. That's it. On to the next one. We're around Sunday nights at 8:30 Eastern time.
Thanks, Clinton. Yeah.
We had a couple people earlier, but they didn't make any comments. They may. Oh, we're not broadcasting to X anymore, are we? Because I think
no, because they won't let us.
Boogers. All right, but you can join our Facebook page or YouTube channel and get announcements when we start broadcasting. Join us live. Stick your quippy comments in there and talk about mayonnaise or whatever condiment you want. We're around Sundays at 8:30 Eastern time, or we put this podcast out live on Wednesday, recorded on Wednesdays, or you can come back and watch later. It's always fun.
Are we going to do one before Dragon Con? Probably not.
Sure, why not? It's in a week. It's going to be the 25th. I'm around. Are you around?
Yeah, I'm just getting ready for Dragon Con, but yeah, let's do it.
I have a pile of stuff accumulating in the bedroom, waiting for my big suitcase to come back from Lithuania.
Okay.
My daughter has my big suitcase, and that's the one I use.
You only have one?
I only have one mega suitcase. Yes.
Okay.
All right, then let's thank our patrons on that note. Thank you to our patrons. They make this show possible. They help offset the cost of live streaming and hosting and software upgrades and whatever else it takes to put this show together, at least financially. Thank you, Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman. Thank you, Ben Vaughn, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC. Thank you, Dan D. Mancoyer. Wow, Craig's already got the banner up at the bottom. No reminder necessary this week. He is on the spot.
I'm getting kudos already.
Almost as good as the 17-year-old trainee I have at church. What? Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis, Gary Lindros, John Clifford, John Noble, Yorga Shrowen, Crazy Joe, Kyle Nishioka. Thank you, Leon. Thank you, Mark, Brad, Mike, Saturday, Steven, Steve, and Tim.
Yeah, Saturday.
What's your name, not Steve, then? Spam, and Tim. Thank you to all of you who have gone over to patreon.com/Technorama podcast. Quick note.
Yes.
Craig and I are in discussions of what we're going to do, because those of you who are paying through the iOS app, Apple's iOS billing is going to start taking a chunk out of they bill. So we may have to go to per content from per episode billing to scheduled. We're going to talk about that. What does it mean? How are we going to do that?
Or you can just log in on your computer and go to the website and
Yeah, but I
check
think by November 2025, they're changing it all. I think they're getting away from per episode billing. That's
on Patreon.
Yes.
I see.
We're going to review all that and let you know. So there are talks, just letting you know early that things may be changing here. We will let you know.
Or you can just mail us checks.
Give us your Venmo account, your
Right.
social security number. We're good with that. All right, let's put that music away. As fun as it is, and as much as I want to listen to that. Oh, I got to get the music
You go,
together.
Clinton, 30%. It hurts.
Yeah. I mean, and that's only if you're paying with the iOS Patreon app at this point.
That's what I mean. If
They're
you go to
either
your
going to
computer,
take 30% and we get 30% less, or we're going
yeah.
to have to raise it 30% and then
it's just like Android or Google does with some sites like Amazon. You buy through Amazon, they get a cut on your Amazon app.
okay.
However, if you go to a website like the Patreon website and set up a payment type where you're not using iOS
Mhm.
at all, I have a feeling that that's because I'm gonna need to read it and double check, but I think that would be fine. You'd have to do.
That's the way it works today, but they are saying that we're looking at changing the billing permanently for everyone in about a year. So we have some time to work with this.
Yeah.
If you're currently using the iOS Patreon app, which I don't know if anybody is or not, we can't tell. Let us know and we'll start a discussion to let you know what we're going to do. Okay, let's move on to Pass Me the Remote.
I was gonna say maybe we just charge them 30% more and call it a day. That's good.
30% more on that dollar show is a bit of a hit.
That's right.
Okay. Donna and I just finished up Ted Lasso season 1 on Apple TV Plus.
Okay, good. What'd you
Really
think?
enjoyed it. We blasted through 10 episodes on that. This is a really good feel-good show. It was made in 2020 or 2021. I forgot what it was. Basic story premise, if you haven't already seen it, I know I'm catching up on a lot of this stuff, is this guy from a junior football, like American football league, is brought over to the UK to be the manager / coach of the Richmond Football League, aka soccer. And he's being brought over, even though he is terribly unqualified. He doesn't even know the rules of soccer / football. I'll just call it football from this point. And he's doing it because the owner of the team has just gone through a real ugly divorce, and she wants to sabotage this thing because it's the love of her ex-husband's life, and she wants to burn it to the ground. So she brings him over and uses him, only it's kind of backfiring because he's actually doing good. But at first, the whole town hates him. They call him a wanker.
Among other things, but yes.
Among other things. But he starts making friends just through his personality. And that starts turning the team around, starts turning the town around. And it really is a warm, feel-good movie. I'm not going to spoil much more of it.
Yeah. Well, and what I will say is the next 2 seasons, it's more than the same in a lot of ways. And some ways that gets a little better too. So it's really good.
Yeah. Okay. Not gonna say what happens at the end, and I'm sure that sets up at least season 2.
Yes.
All right. What have you been watching?
Well, not a whole lot, but today we watched Jackpot, which was on Amazon Prime, and it's I figured her last name. It's with the comedian Aquafina. That's her name, and John Cena. And the premise is in California after the depression of 2026 or 2029 or something. They were the government needed money really bad. So what they did was they did a lottery. And if you win the lottery, it's legal for somebody to kill you within 24 hours of you winning.
Sounds like a Hunger Games kind of thing.
And if they kill you, they get your money. But if you live for the 24 hours, you get to keep it. It's yours. So it's supposed to be a comedy, and it's a little thin. I think it wasn't really great. There was a few moments, but it wasn't that great.
Okay.
But I know I looked at Kim and said, "Wow, I said, how did you like that?" And she looked at me like, Are you kidding me? I was like,
Trying to be positive. Trying to be
I didn't really. Yeah, actually, to be honest with you, during the credits, you know how sometimes movies they'll show bloopers and outtakes.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they were doing that. Actually, those were more entertaining than the movie, I think itself. So
Well,
the credits were more fun.
my other one is a new channel that I just came across a couple hours before the show started called Retro Recipes. The
Oh,
video that caught my eye was this guy saying, "All right, there's this show on BBC Channel 4
oh,
from 1985 that was talking about various computer projects. And it was kind of cool, nerdy show. And he said there was one episode where they flashed this little white dot on the screen and said, "Here is your program." Now you can write the receiver. It's for the Commodore, the
hmm
ZX Spectrum ZX, something. It was for 2 or 3 different computers at the same time. And there in the magazine, they said if you want to write the receiver program, you need to build this little circuit, and they showed most of what the circuit was about. So you can put the IR receiver on your TV and have that translated
that's
onto
cool.
the cassette. And you can write the receiver, which was in assembly in a magazine in the March edition
Hey,
of blah
the
blah
internet
blah.
really sucked back then.
It was hardcore. So this guy said,
Yeah.
unfortunately, like the next week they went off the air, so you never found out if anybody actually used this thing. We want to see if we can decipher this message from the past.
Right.
So he went out and said, I can't find all the parts. We're going to try using some modern parts, had some problems, ran into it. There was one point where the guy on the TV starts talking about a variable resistor. He said, that's the first I've heard of it. And the circuit's already built. He went out to PCBWay, made a PCB, had all the resistors and stuff crammed in there. And then they say, and then tune your variable resistor. He's like, what? What variable resistor? This is the first
Oh,
I'm hearing of this. I've already got my assembly already built. So it was a lot of interesting technical challenges to get this application on the on his Commodore 64.
that's funny. We've talked about this guy before. He built the Tesla kit Knight Rider car. He built his. I think he had his own night kit
Okay.
he built, and he's. Oh, this will clue you in. Speaking of the Commodore 64, uh, who was it? Not the inventor of the Commodore, but was renting a room in the house with his family. We talked about it a long time ago. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember every article we talked about on this show for
You
751
don't?
episodes.
Oh, am I just wasting my time?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't even remember what I say.
This
But
thing.
I know
Well,
if we say the same things, the next thought will be exactly the same because that's the way my brain is wired.
yeah. Anyway, his kit Tesla was pretty cool too, but you can go check all that out. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm subscribed to this guy. I see him stuff every once in a while.
And he's been producing regularly steady stuff for the last several years. So
Yes, he
I
has.
subscribe to him. We'll keep an eye out and let you know if anything else comes up. Also, a few interesting videos that I put from YouTube into the Geek Library. One is about REST APIs, something that I learned. Now, I've been doing REST APIs for many years. This is a method of which computers talk to other computers and pass the payload. And I found out that it's not, you can't technically call it a REST API if it doesn't return a payload that tells you more about like the next page of information or a link to the records in that information.
Does it mean that it gives you some data and rests until you call again, kind of thing?
No,
That's not
REST
what.
actually stands for representational state transfer. And unless you're transferring back that state information,
Hmm.
it's not, it's just an HTTP put patch post method. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Apparently I've been calling many of my REST requests the wrong thing. Not all of them, but many of them.
yeah.
But that was interesting. If you want to find out more about REST APIs, that I recommend that. Uh, there's another one from Rob Words. The weird ways the elements got their names. Some are pretty self-explanatory, like Californium,
Oh, yeah.
Einsteinium.
Sometimes it has to do with the person that found it, right? I mean,
Right. In the later ones. But where did helium come from? Argon. Xenon, or as he calls it, xenon.
Richard R. Argon discovered.
Richard Argon.
Yeah,
He's the guy who left halfway through the
that's what I was
experiment.
trying to say. Actually, Richard
Okay.
Argon.
Another one that I look at fairly often, they'll talk about food franchises that have gone, or appliances from the 60s that we no longer use. This one is 20 famous cigarette brands that faded into history. Although not all of them faded into history, but what I did realize is there is a market out there for trading like packets of these things, and you can get up to like $30 for an old
Yeah.
packet of cigarettes.
You know, cigarettes do go stale after a while.
They're not smoking them, they're just trading them. It's a collector's item.
Oh,
So there's a market for cigarette collectors. Didn't realize that.
no, I think I'd pass on that.
And then Ryan Socash had one on its history called the San Francisco's Lost Belt Railroad. If you've ever been to like Fisherman's Wharf in that area and notice there's these railroad tracks embedded into the sidewalks,
Yes, I've seen those. Yeah.
there was a whole network of railroads down there, and they went through the history of it and what happened and what's left. So kind of cool stuff. If you're a San Francisco buff, might want to
That's
look
cool.
into that. That's what I have in the Geek Library for this week. We are running up to the end of the show with a question of the week for next time. If you could have any fictional creature as a pet, which one would you choose? Ooh, one of the dragons from Harry Potter? A Celet from Vulcan?
Yeah. Unicorn, maybe?
A Targ from Klingon? Man,
those things are tough to feed.
I don't know. There were some interesting ones in Foundation as well.
Oh,
Almost done with season 2 of that. So working on that. Maybe by next time. That's what we want. What is your fictional creature as a pet? Tribbles? No. Neutered tribbles.
yeah. That's right. The ones that Rock Talk fixed.
That brings us to end of the show. Wow, we're there. We'll talk to you again real soon. We will talk to the Patreon people first, though.
Yeah.
So don't forget, patreon.com/Technorama podcast. If you want to get in on that action, extra episode, postcard coming. We're going to send those off from Dragon Con, and we're working on the design for the 2024 t-shirts. So look forward to that as well. Until then, if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach out on the listener line 707-530. I'm saying it slow so you can write it down.
Wait a minute.
2428.
Wait,
707
let me get some pen and paper. Hold on.
530 chat. Better be on your speed dial at this point.
Yeah.
Or you can email us. That's always a possibility. Technorama@chuckchat.com. A number of people do that with their ideas. They go, hey, I got an idea for a random question of the week.
Yep.
Throw it at us. Our board will review it. And if it's approved, you will get on the show.
All one of them.
Get on the show.
Yeah, all one of them.
Hang out with us on social media, wherever you find Technorama Podcast. I'm sure you can Google that. Great comments tonight. Yeah, Clinton, he's the only one making comments. Self high five.
There you go.
Till next time, give us a binary high five, Craig.
All right, 101. And to you too, Clinton.
So our pastor in church today was talking about, sing even if you can't sing. And
No.
God loves your voice no matter how bad it is.
Okay.
He was talking to the kids for the children's choir. He goes, okay, who's going to lead us in closing prayer? And his one boy says, I will. And his prayer was, thank you, God, for listening to our bad singing. Amen. And then somebody in the comments on the live feed, some of the comments says, hello from wherever they were, blah, 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 Michigan, from the best singer in my kitchen.
In my kitchen. That's funny. Cute. That's really cute.
Like, how many people are singing in your kitchen?
Yeah. Right.
Just one. So yeah, Clinton was giving himself a self high five for the best comments in the chat tonight, because he's the only comments. I was
I'll
like,
give him
when
one.
my wife and my kids were out, and I said, I'm the most responsible adult in this whole house. Well, then again, I'm the only adult
Yeah.
in this house.
Enjoy it while you're alone.
Yep. Now my wife is back, and I'm the second most responsible. Soon that'll be going down rapidly. when the kids come back. All right, we're going to end the stream here. Thanks for watching. We're going to go record our Patreon show and get that out. If you're not already listening, Dog Days of Podcasting over at dogdaysofpodcasting.com. Jump right in. Maybe even think about making a podcast. When you listen to some of the stuff, you go, I can do better than that.
Yeah. I started recruiting a few people for next week or, whenever they want to.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Good night, Clint.